Howdy again there, YouTube. This is going to be kind of a ridiculous project, but I think it's going to work out pretty good based on the lines and how everything lines up. But I've got a bunch of these MP7's that I don't really like, and they're pretty well useless. But what I'm going to do is make them into a triple handguard for a G36. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire them all together, so I'm going to remove all the trigger components. And what I noticed is that you don't need the full mag well to support the mag. So I cut this one off, and I'm going to do that on these side ones. So there'll be 3 of them, and what I was really thinking might be fun is to put a laser on each one and make a Predator 3 laser sight thing for it. So I think, like I said, this is all going to kind of line up perfect. So I'm just going to make it in a handguard so it can be removed and put on this. And this is a regular, just a G36 extra body that I've got, so I needed to do something with it anyway. So stay tuned and I'll throw this handguard together real quick, kind of prototype style. So this is shaping up to be kind of easier than I thought. Here's 2 of them mounted together here. And they just kind of they mount on there pretty good. Actually, there's access through some of these vent holes to bolt it to where the former rails were. Now, the one thing is I'm not going to be able to access that pin very easily, so I'm going to have to come up with maybe a little 2-piece dealio or something to keep it on there. But that's easy enough to figure out. Maybe an internal spring that pops out. So I'm going to remove the trigger guards forward of the mag release on these, because there's not going to be any trigger mechanics. These are going to be full auto only. There's no need for selector. That would be like some kind of crazy thing. But what I am going to do is I want to be able to adjust the hop up on this one, and you won't be able to get to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sliding using the brass deflector here. I'm going to drill a little hole and I'm going to run a wire through the back so that I can push it forward and backwards, because you won't be able to get to it once it's installed on the gun. So it'll just be a little piece of wire, black wire hanging out back here that I can go to adjust that hop up on that one. And then on this one, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this cut off grip thing yet. It would work, but the mags are going to be sticking down anyway, so I don't know. We'll see. But the rear sight has to be removed in order to get it up underneath here. So I'm still kind of figuring out how I'm going to get that mounted on there. But it's going to look pretty awesome. And these are fairly lightweight, and with everything stripped off of it, it doesn't really add too much to the handguard. So, weight-wise. On these though, because I'm going to be using one trigger switch to activate all of the gearboxes, I'm not so sure that I want to just jumper them, because I could. I would just split off of this one and run it to this side of the switch on both of these gearboxes, which would be easy enough. But I think I can wire up just a simple MOSFET. I might even have one that I've already done, just to make it so that I wasn't frying stuff. I think that would be worth the effort to do. But I want to do it so that I can plug and unplug these gearboxes, because these things are going to go out fairly rapidly, and I have a bunch, so that's not a big deal. Main thing is getting this mounted up so that it looks decent and works functionally good. But like I said, I'm going to remove these trigger guards. I'm not going to need those. Not going to need any of the safety or selector switch. It's going to be full auto only, because come on, look what I'm doing. You'll see it. You'll see the vision soon enough. It looks like it's coming together fairly quickly. Okay, so I've got them mechanically attached here. I've got the trigger guards removed. Got the wiring coming out. Not really sure how I'm going to route it, but I've got it figured out as far as how it's going to be used. Now all I got to do is figure out how I'm going to mount this lower one. But I think it'll work out pretty good. It's actually kind of made for it, believe it or not. So, second for you, probably a little bit for me. Alright, well, I've got the 3 rigged up here, kind of halfway. It's obviously very loose, but I think I've got it figured out how I'm going to do it. It's kind of hard to get all three of them in the picture, but the three MP7's around the G36 here on the handguard. And ideally what I'd like to do is mount these just to the G36 rail sections, but I have yet to figure out how to really get them mounted on there without the cycle of taking, oh, I gotta take this one apart and then this, you know, the Rubik's Cube of putting it together. But I think I can figure out some way of doing it. But until then, I'm gonna rig this one up just the way this is. And you can see I took the triggers off. There's no need for it. I'm gonna rig it up to run off of this trigger. So that'll be something to look forward to. It'll be a hailstorm, definitely a BB's once it's finished. And if you don't hit them, surely they're going to slip on all the BB's on the ground, so you'll get them one way or the other. That's what I figure. Kind of a fun movie style gun. Anyway, I ended up scoring one of those EVIC Boxes of Awesome, the Valentine's edition. So it's 12 pounds, so we'll see what that ends up being. Either something great or something not so great. So, something to look forward to. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Alright, well, we're getting closer. I just went ahead and did the simple wiring. I bridged the triggers on the two slave ones. And so this is running the master off of the motor, which I guess I'm putting a little bit of strain on that trigger there. But I got her hooked up to a 7.4 and it sure as heck does work. So they will semi-auto when the selector's in semi-auto and full auto when in full auto. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. So that should be kind of fun. So now that I had to relearn how to hook this back up again, this is using an automotive micro relay for headlights, you know, the add-on headlights, because I don't want to trust this switch. This one already turned black, so I figured out the wiring here. White leg is the switch leg. Then you got to double up on the red because you got to feed the switch from one side, and the output goes to the switch leg of the dealio. Grounds all kind of tie together, and then the power out will go to, this is where the other two will hook up, so they all get the same signal. I can show you how it works right here real quick. I can get it plugged in with one hand. Semi-auto. Of course, you got to hold the thing down, but it does seem to cycle a lot better. So I think that power deal is, you know, there's something to it, getting clean power with these things. It seems to run a lot smoother. So next step is getting it all hooked up together. Okay, so I got the wiring all figured out here with my relay, of course, but now I've got it actually wired in. So this one's controlling these two. And if I hold the thing down, it will full auto. Like so. So there's that. Now all I gotta do is package it all up, tie it all up real good, and get it all. I think I'm gonna put the electronics inside of the handguard and then put the battery inside of the lower gun. So we'll see how that works. So I did wire in this connector so that I can take it apart. Alright guys, it's done, it's together. The scale of this thing is ridiculous and unbelievable. It's just a monster, it really is. It's just, you can't really capture it on camera very well, but I can tell you it's a beast. It's truly a beast. All three of the MP7 parts shoot at once with the bottom control, It'll semi-auto 3 shots, or if you put it on full auto down here, all of them full auto. Center gun is just the standard G36. The handguard comes off. It's not, you know, the MP7's are not attached to the G36 in any way. So you could just pop this off and put on another forend or put on a different G36. The G36 really isn't part of the project. But these have these cut-off angled foregrips. Now the magazines are kind of cool because if you put a short mag in the side that your arm is going to be on, so if you are right-handed, your left hand is going to be on the trigger. If you put a short mag in this gun, a mid-cap, then your arm doesn't hit anything, so your arm can just fit in there, and vice versa. If you wanted to put your short mag on this side, if you're lefty, your right hand would be controlling this part of the gun, so you would put the short mag on that side. But for illustration purposes, I have just these 2 long ones. I've got a long and a short one coming. Due to poor planning, I just didn't have a 3rd magazine, so I haven't even really, I mean, I've test fired, dry fired it a bunch of times, so I know they all work, but I haven't actually put BBs through it. I just kind of wanted to save that. So I'm going to save that for another video, unfortunately, because I don't want to do it half-hearted, because it's going to be pretty darn impressive when it goes off. So other than that, I put these red dot sights on it just kind of as a lark. But you can use these other sights. They're still there. They're functional. They haven't been changed. Really, I haven't changed a whole lot. I tried really hard to keep everything factory looking so that everything fits inside. I actually had to rebuild 2 of these lower ones in order to get the wiring figured out and with the lead short enough so that everything fit inside. And so the way I have it wired is that there's going to be 2 of the really small, like AK buffer tube stick type batteries in here side by side. One runs the 3 gun 7.4 and one runs the main gun, but they all fit inside. I haven't quite got all the wiring hidden away yet, so you can see some of it, but they're quick disconnect. I use some of these weird disconnect fittings that I found in my toolbox. I was going to use mini Tamiya, but these seem to work okay too. They're pin style, so they're not melting down or anything by full autoing it to test it. And then the pin, I was going to make some spring tension pins, but what I found is if you put Allen key in here and then rotate it down, it locks it in place, and then to take it out you just rotate it up and you can pull it out to the side, you know, whoop, whoop, and it pops right out of there. So that's how I did that. Maybe not the best. I still might do that spring tension thing, because what I want to do is build a central piece with 2 parts that spring out from the inside. So you just push them in and pull the thing out, and I think that'll hold it. Even though this really works well for how kind of stupid the setup is, I think that's eventually what I'll do. But I think I might put it out there into some build contests when I see them pop up. You know, kind of the anti-M4, the all HK, just ridiculous annihilation weapon, Terminator killer. And the bipod's just there to hold it up because it's kind of heavy, and even though they're mounted really well, I mean, this thing is mounted for freaking use in the field. And I might try that. That might be fun. Pull it out. It's a, you know, obviously front heavy, but I think the added firepower of having 3 MP7's in addition to your main gun as a backup is pretty dang awesome. And you know, these things are only like 230 feet per second, so they don't, you know, really shoot out that far, but you know, it's better than having a little boom shotgun or grenade launcher or anything. You got 3 AEGs in addition to your standard AEG. So, and also I was thinking kind of, you know, big picture scope wise, this wouldn't be a bad idea in real life. I mean, you could darn near use it as an anti-aircraft gun. Because, I mean, these things in real life are really lightweight and high impact, you know, with their little round, their little bee's hornet nest of rounds. Then you got your G36 as well. So, I mean, in real life, I think that would be just a brutal killer, you know, for close range combat. You wouldn't want to stand in front of it, I can tell you that much. Kind of the American 180, you know, combined with the G36. But that's kind of neither here nor there because I have neither the licenses nor would I ever want to pursue the paperwork to try to build one in real life. So that's what Airsoft really is for, is to kind of pursue these ideas since we can't do it in real life. Here we are to scale, 1-to-1 scale, with an idea taken all the way to, you know, fruition without too much fabrication. So I would imagine, with that being said, it wouldn't be that hard to figure out in real life. You know, you just have to do a mechanical linkage instead of an electrical linkage. You know, I've removed all the trigger stuff because I don't need it. All I've got here is a mag release, you know. So it would be different on a real gun. But I'm sure someone could figure it out. They figured out much more difficult things. But like I said, neither here nor there. For my purposes, this is completed. I call this good. I'm going to wait for the magazines, and then I'll shoot another episode with me hosing away. I got some extra Christmas ornaments, glass Christmas ornaments I'm going to wipe out with them. So that'll be fun. So stay tuned for that, and thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.